that comes out and spring loaded to loosen that off, and then you can adjust that. Now you've got to have that all the way up to fold your seat, to rotate your console, and for most people that's the comfortable position anyway, so leave it locked in nice and tight so it doesn't move on you. Okay, now the ignition key. Turn the key on, dash lights come on, globe plug. It needs, 6 or 8 seconds with the globe plug at least, or wait till it goes out before you try to start it. When you go to turn the key, you think that's the start position, but it's not. Right? The next position, and see how it pulls the key in, so if you actually push the key as you go, it makes it a little bit easier. But that next position is the start, so you've got off, on, that what feels like start, right? But what is start? Okay, and it won't start now because my foot's not on the clutch, so I've got to have my foot on the clutch. The other thing is though, if the PTO is on, then it won't start. Right? So turn the PTO off, have the foot on the clutch. There it goes. Below the PTO over here. These switches, by the way, got a little slide safety lock so that you can't accidentally bump them. You can't just bump it on, you've got to slide that across. So slide that and flick the switch. That's the PTO on. You just can bump them off, but you can't bump, that's the diff lock. You can't just bump it on, you've got to slide it and flick the switch. And then you can bump it off. Okay, there's your turn indicators there. Over here are your headlights, parking lights and headlights and high beam. Hazard lights, all the unimportant stuff, but this one here is important, this little button here. When you turn your PTO on, if you just turn it on over here, it'll be like most tractors and it's just instant start, bang, and it goes. Right? If you push that first and then turn it on, it'll have a soft start. It'll start up nice and slowly, and you just allow it, hold it for maybe 10 seconds until your implement is running at full speed, and then you take your thumb off the button. Now the soft start is adjustable down here. Down here. That there is your soft start. Now normally, if you screw it all the way in and out, that's half a turn, 1 turn, 1.5 turns, 1 3/4 turns is generally where you want it, but you can fine tune that to match your implements, and it'll vary a little bit between hot and cold as well. Okay, are you still going? Okay, here's your handbrake. The handbrake is in an uncomfortable position when you've got the console in reverse mode, but it's not that bad once you get used to it. Putting your foot on the pedal makes it easier, and you just, if you stand up in your seat, it's not, I don't think it's uncomfortable, but some people do, but you use your little finger to push the button in, and I don't think it's a problem. It's one of those things that seems like a problem until you get used to it. Okay. Your gears, you've got your range lever here. Now there's 3 ranges, there's a snail, a turtle and a hare. I always get confused. I know the hare's the fastest, but you've got to stop and think. But the turtle is your medium range, and the snail is your creeper range, your slowest range.
Duh.
So forward and reverse shuttle. The range box and the forward reverse are not synchro. Your 4-speed over here is all synchro. So just make sure you come to a full stop before you change from forward to reverse, and you won't have a problem. Hand throttle. Oh, with your PTO too. Down back to your PTO. That's your gear selector for your PTO. Down is engine drive. Up 1 click is neutral. Up a 2nd click is ground drive. So you're unlikely to want ground drive unless you've got a trailer that's made specifically for a 6-wheel drive combination. And but neutral, you want to be aware of that because you may accidentally bump it into neutral and then wonder why your PTO doesn't work. If you've got to re-engage that from the neutral position, the easiest way to do it is to have your engine running. So hang on, I'll just show you. That might even be in neutral already, actually. I'll just start it up. so that's in neutral. The easiest way is to turn the motor off and grind it in it just as it stops. Like that. And it goes in nicely. So this is your control for your 3-point linkage. So that's raise, neutral, that's lower, and up there is float. Right. Here is the valve to turn off the down pressure. So if you're operating with the Agilator or the Forklift, you'd normally leave it in that position there, but for say a finishing mower or a mulcher which wants to sit on the ground and follow the contours, you would turn it off, so that when you go from neutral through to float, it doesn't give it that momentary pressure down as you pass through that position there. It's not doing it at the moment because the engine's not running, but normally that would give you down pressure and then you push it into float, but when that's turned off it just goes straight into float. It just makes the down pressure so it doesn't work. And just turn it back on when you don't, when you're back to your Agilator or Forklift or other things. Grader blade would also want the down pressure. Up here, I'll just come around here, another directional restrictor valve. That one there, the one on the bottom adjusts your down flow rate for the linkage, and the one on the top does the raise rate. So that sets the rate that it drops at, that sets the rate that it raises at. And depending on your implement, you can adjust it to suit. This is a directional drop rate valve for the engine and 3-point linkage, so for the ballast box. So you have that open. If you got it fully open and you push that down, the linkage will go down really quickly, and if you close it off, it'll go down at a restricted speed. So you adjust that to match the weight so it drops at a nice speed. But if you close it all the way off, it won't drop at all. You can go like that accidentally and it doesn't end up on the ground. So, but it'll still lift. So you can go like that and it'll still allow it to come up, but it won't allow it to come down. So once you've got your ballast box connected, I'd suggest you wind it all the way in tight, not ultra tight, but just firmly tight. Then you go like that to raise the box, and then it can't come down accidentally. If you accidentally bump that lever, it's not going to come down. And then if you do want it to come down, you just open up that and it'll start dropping slowly, and you can open it to the speed, you know, to drop it at a nice speed that you want, rather than if you open it all the way it'll drop real quickly. Okay, so normally leave it fully closed and then just raise it to the raise position, and then it'll stay there. You've got to take both of these R clips off, R pins, sorry. This one here, we'll just flex it out and lift it up like that. But then this one, we want to keep it in the same position, so we pull it out and just let the bull bar drop. So that when you go to reconnect it, all we're going to do is flex that out and it should, you know, drop in reasonably easy without having to line both of them up. Okay, so I'll just drop it down again now so that we can open the bonnet. To open the bonnet, we remove our free cleaner. We've got our little bungee straps on both sides here. Pretty straightforward. Same on this side. And it is a fairly tight tolerance between the ROPS frame, so just hold the bonnet in, squeeze it in while you lift it up, just so you don't avoid scratching it. And there you go. You can do your daily checks without opening your bonnet, like checking your oil, and you can visually check your coolant there. But you want to get in here to access your radiator screen. So before we rotate the seat, we need to have the handbrake on, and we need the gear levers in neutral. And if you come up here, you can see that lever there to unlatch the seat. Now if that's a bit tight, sometimes you might need to wriggle the seat at the same time just to unlatch it, but it's coming out easy. As I lift it up, you watch that one clicks in. Once that's clicked in, then it'll spin around. Just put that on the float so it doesn't clash there. I need you to come up a bit closer here. Before we disconnect it, we've got to loosen off these sway links. See, these sway links need to always be tight during operation. So if we rock the bucket, you can see that those sway links, oh look, just coming loose a little bit there, but that's okay like that. So I need to undo the safety chain. Can you see in there?
Yep.
Undo the safety chain and just loosen. Only need to do one side. Loosen that off so that we can undo this now. So now we lift that up. That's to unhook the quick hitch. Come around the other side. Actually, if you come around here, Jen, and look in here.
Right.
From the front, you'll see better. Because I want you to see that pin there, how that goes in. See that? So we lift that up and we put that in to lock it in, and then it'll disconnect. So stand back there and I'll let it down. So once the balls are disconnected, put that in float, put that in float with the motor off. Float both of those to relieve any pressure. I'll just hold it that way for a little bit and then that way for a little bit. And then we can disconnect all these hoses here and here. They're all colour coded, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up again. And these two here. Then we've got to take the top link off, which is this one here. It shouldn't be under much pressure, or any pressure. If it is under pressure, you might have to start your motor and just move that lever in or out a little bit just to take the load off the pin. And we've got this chain here to hold that in the up position. I can probably stand on that to push it down, or I can use the down pressure. I'll just start it up and use the down pressure because we're still not disconnected on the balls just yet. Focus on those heavy bolts. So disconnect, let these off, but make sure you observe that pin comes out to lock the ball in. Okay, look down here. Jenny, come in from the top. Look down here. See that pin there?
Can't see anything yet. Okay, point to the pin.
The pin is in there.
Yep.
And as I let this go, the pin should come out. Yep, which it did. So just to confirm that it's locked in. Up the hoses, green and yellow again, so yellow's down the bottom, and these other two hoses, red and blue, these ones here, you can't see they're colour coded, but don't worry, you can see it behind you on the hose if you follow the connection put on the hose. The top one is the red one. goes in. Now we've got to hook up our top link. Now we've got two little spaces here. It's quite important you have one on each side. Okay? So, put it in the top of now. We've got to line this up, so lift this out. There we go, now we've got the other spacer. Bring it up from underneath. There we go, put the pin in. Now we've got that's all connected except I've got to do up the swaling. Now when we're doing up this swaling, it's important to make sure that it remains centred. Because if I just lift this linkage up, you can't see in the front there. If I lift this linkage up, you'll probably see the whole thing move to one side. You watch. Hang on. I might as well just close this up. So just stay there actually. Now see how much it moves? That's disastrous, right? But if I were just to tighten up one side, it would end up all the way over here and it wouldn't be centred. You've got to make sure it remains centred. So looking from the centre, that hydraulic cylinder there, if you come up closer, Jim. No, get in the centre. So you can see that hydraulic cylinder there, with it all level, should be in a straight line. Okay? Remember, if I change the angling of it, that will change how that cylinder looks. Right? So you've got to have it level, get it level, but then we've got to adjust both of those swalings up. So if I push it over there and then use this one to adjust it back, see how that one's bringing it back as I adjust it? Right, so that now that should be stopping, that's probably roughly centred, I would imagine. Let's have a look at it. Yep. So then I come around this side, undo my little locking chain, and tighten this one up. Okay, now we want it tighter than that, of course. That's come up tight now, but see when I rock it, see how it comes a little bit loose. But before we do that, I just want to check that it is centred again. So just looking at it, it wants to go that way a little bit perhaps, so I might even loosen this one off. Just a fraction. And now tighten this one. Pulling it over this way at the same time, so that I can get it tight. If you rock it like that and do it up as tight as you can by hand, that's the right tension. Okay, then I do up the safety chains, the locking chains. Very important to do these up so it doesn't come loose. And you should also check them periodically during operation, because as it wears, you might have them tight now. See, I'm rocking that, it's nice and tight, but after I've done half a day's work, especially while it's new, they'll wear in a little bit and they need to be retensioned. So you always need to check those chains. You know, just rock the bucket like that, make sure the sway links don't come loose. Okay, so this lever here, the main one, is our up, now down. See how it's not quite level with the ground there? We can level it up. Still not quite level, but that ground's a little bit uneven there. Right, so now it's sitting level. But when I lift it up, I can line up the top of here with the top of the bucket and I can see the two aren't level. So to get them level, you know, for digging on level ground, I'll line those two up. So that's pretty much level there now. That's fully raised. Crowded. leveling edges on the ground. You leave that in float and just push all four of them at once. It'll be a nice clean pickup. Here we go. Raise your lower. When you've got that fully raised, there's your levelling there with your complete. There's your forklift adjustment. Now that's fully lowered there, so to get it onto the ground to go under a pallet, you've got to bring that down to there. But then you can raise it like that, and you can have it set so that you know that it's not going to touch the ground, assuming you're on level ground, and there's your raise to carry. You can just drop it down, you don't have to look, you just know it's the right spot, you've already preset the linkage. Okay? And adjust it like that. But I just want to show you now for disconnecting your linkage. Remember, same as with any implement, you always want these sway links tight. So when you rock the implement, see it's just moving a little bit. That's pretty right. That's the way you want it. Okay. So to undo it, we're going to disconnect our chain that locks it in the tight position, and we'll undo that just to take the weight off it. Okay. Now, if you come to here. So with it like that, that should lift up, which it does. If ever you have trouble getting that to go up, don't pull it really tight because there's a cable inside and you'll break the cable. What you do is while you're pulling that, get a screwdriver or a steel punch or something, and just give that a little tap or push on it. Push on it there while you're pulling on it here if it gets tight. But keep grease on it and keep it grease and oil on it, and it should be good, you know. So that comes up, and then that lifts up there to lock it in the position to disconnect. So now I'll do the same on the other side. Just a matter of lifting that up, like so. Now I'm going to just throw the linkage into float and allow it to come down onto the ground. Oh, actually, before I do that, I want to fully lower the mast so that it can support itself on those legs. So I'll have to just start the engine to do that again. Raise that, fully lower there, throw that into float. In fact, I can now even give it a little bit of down pressure and make those linkage arms come disconnected in a minute. It's still floating down there at the moment. So now that it's there, I'll just go back to there and just give it a little bit of down pressure. There you go. They're disconnected. All I've got to do now is disconnect the top link and unplug the hoses. Now, sometimes with some implements you need to move this cylinder in and out, you know, to get the weight off here, but with this forklift there's no weight on it because it's fairly well balanced. I have a little spacer there, which is quite important, so don't lose the spacer when you take it out. There we go, like so. Put that back in there so I don't lose it. Here are the hoses. I've got them colour coded. Yellow and green goes to yellow and green. Okay, now good idea to just float those to see how it relieves the pressure. Actually, it's not a good idea, it's essential. Sorry, that you float those before you disconnect them to make it easy to connect up again, and just pull them out like so. Now the only thing we've got to do is support this before we drive away, otherwise it'll drop down and make a big bang. So I'm just going to start her up again. So I'll just take the weight here while I pick the lever to bring that in. Now that that's out of the way, I can lift that up here and put the chain on to support it. So, by the way, now I suppose I'll show you how to hook this up. So, you want the linkage all the way down, and we'll drive up to it. Now, because there's nothing on the linkage arms, they can sway in and out there, see? And they're actually hanging out wider than where we connect them. So ideally we want a little spring there. See this bungee cord that we've got up here? If we take that off there, we borrow it from here for the time being, and just hook it from there across to here. That keeps those in while we drive into position, okay? Lined up there, I'll just realign it. So, first step in connecting this up is the top link. Make sure you put the little spacer back in on this side. It's not essential, but it's a good idea. Okay, that's that one. Actually, that's good because then I can move this in and out and control how close that is there, see? Even though it's still on the ground. So I'll just move that out a little bit. Let me just sneak past in here. And now we're just going to connect one at a time, okay? There we go, there's that one, and then I'll unlock that, make sure that pin comes all the way out there and it's locked in. Now I'm going to raise the other one. And to do that, it's important you look up here at the levers. To do that I need to throw that one into float and now push that one down, and that will then, I'm going to push that lever down and you'll see what happens there. Just raising that other one up. So then unlock that and make sure the pin comes out to lock it in, see? You can see that pin there, that's moving there. Make sure it comes all the way out. Once we've done that, we will then just raise the linkage just a little bit. And now we've got to tighten up the swaling to see how loose it is. So we tighten that up. So it's just coming tight there now, but once it's tight, just rock it. And as you rock it, you'll get it a bit further each time, and then drop the locking chain so it can't come undone. And now we'll borrow our little bungee strap back again and put it back up here where it belongs on these hoses, just to keep them from fouling with other things. Mainly on the Agilator this is required so it doesn't foul with that level it. And then we've got these to plug in, so the yellow goes with the yellow down the bottom. If ever that doesn't go in properly and click in, I just did, but sometimes you may need to give it a little push from the back. Usually it just goes in, usually I just pull out, push in. And that's it. Good to go again. Make sure that it's level too, you know, like you've got your leveling, like that. Make sure it's level to match the ground that you're on, to match the tractor. You should only use it on level ground. When you're connecting this hydraulic top link, You've got 3 holes to choose from. Always use the middle hole. Only use the middle hole. Okay? And your spacer goes on this side. Like on this side, on the left side of the cylinder as you're looking at it from the operating system. Okay, so I just want to explain how to take the ballast box off, because you have to take that off so you can drop your bull bar and lift your bonnet. And you want to take it off for other things anyway. While it's up in the air, you want to take these little pins out here, so there's the R clip, you just pull out, take the pin out, and there's a little spot up there to store it. Same around this side. Then we position those blocks of wood there. And now I drop the linkage down just till it touches the block. Yep. Once it's there, I'm going to take the top link out. Now this is empty at the moment, it's not full of concrete, but so you just got to make allowances for that too. Once you get it like that, then we drop the linkage down the rest of the way. Down she goes, and the linkage will just fall down then, and you can drive away from it.